The town of Millbrook wakes like it always does, slow, predictable, safe. Main Street hums with the quiet rhythm of ordinary life. Old pickup trucks rumble past the diner where coffee pots have been brewing since sunrise. A dog barks from behind a chain-link fence. Children's laughter echoes from the elementary school playground 2 blocks away. Everything is normal. Everything is fine. But at the edge of the Riverside Shopping Center parking lot, tucked between a lamppost and an overflowing dumpster, sits a little girl who doesn't belong in this picture. She's maybe 8 years old. Her jacket is 2 sizes too big, sleeves rolled up past her wrists. Her sneakers are scuffed and faded, laces tied in crooked knots. Her hair falls in uneven waves around her face. Unwashed, uncombed, the kind of mess that comes from days without care. And pressed against her chest, wrapped in a thin blanket covered in cartoon dogs, is a puppy. The puppy is small, golden brown, with big eyes that blink up at the world like it doesn't understand why everything feels so heavy. It squirms occasionally, licking the girl's chin, but she holds it tighter each time, like she's afraid it might disappear. In her other hand, she holds a cardboard sign. The letters are crooked, written in thick black marker by a child's unsteady hand. Puppy for sale, need money for mom's medicine. Cars pull in. Doors slam. Shoppers walk past, glancing at her for half a second before looking away. No one stops. No one asks. And far off, beyond the tree line at the edge of town, a faint rumble begins to build. Her name is Emma. She doesn't tell people that anymore, because when you're trying to sell something, names make it harder. Names make people ask questions. Names make them look at you like you're a person, not just a problem they can ignore. She shifts on the curb, pulling the puppy closer. His name is Biscuit. She named him that because when she first found him wandering near the train tracks 3 months ago, he was the color of warm biscuits her mom used to make on Sunday mornings. Back when her mom could still stand long enough to cook. Emma counts the money in her pocket again. 3 crumpled dollar bills. A handful of coins. $3.47. She earned it yesterday doing chores for Mrs. Patterson next door, pulling weeds, sweeping the porch, folding laundry. Mrs. Patterson gave her a kind smile and a sandwich wrapped in foil, but when Emma asked if there was more work, the old woman just shook her head. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. That's all I can afford right now." Emma didn't cry. She just nodded and walked home, clutching her $3 like they were made of gold. But they're not enough. Not even close. The pharmacy visit plays back in her mind like a movie she can't stop watching. She had stood on her tiptoes at the counter, trying to see over the edge, watching the pharmacist type something into the computer. Her mom had sent her with a prescription, folded carefully in her jacket pocket. "How much?" her mom had asked over the phone, her voice weak and raspy. The pharmacist had looked at Emma with the kind of sadness adults try to hide. "Without insurance, it's $340 for a month's supply." Emma's stomach had dropped. "But we don't have that much." The pharmacist had leaned down, speaking softly. "I'm sorry, honey. I really am. But there's nothing I can do." Emma had walked home in silence, the prescription still folded in her pocket, useless as a wish. That night, her mom coughed until she couldn't breathe. Emma sat beside her bed, holding her hand, feeling how thin and cold her fingers had become. Her mom's cheeks were hollow. Her eyes had dark circles that looked like bruises. "I'm okay, baby," her mom whispered, even though they both knew it was a lie. "I just need to rest." But Emma had heard her crying in the bathroom later that night. And she had heard her whisper, so quiet it was almost a prayer. "I don't know how long I can hold on." Emma looks down at Biscuit. He yawns, his tiny pink tongue curling, his tail wagging softly against her arm. She buries her face in his fur and whispers, "I'm sorry," because she knows what she has to do. Emma found the cardboard behind the grocery store. It used to say "fragile, handle with care" in red letters, but she tore it so only the blank side showed. She sat on the kitchen floor with the black marker in her hand, staring at the empty space, trying to find the right words. What do you say when you're selling the only thing that makes you feel safe? How do you ask someone to take away your best friend so your mom doesn't die? Her hand shook as she wrote the first letter. Puppy. She paused. Biscuit was curled up beside her, his head resting on her knee. He didn't know what was happening. He just knew she was there, and that was enough. Emma swallowed hard and kept writing. "Puppy for sale, need money for mom's medicine." She stared at the words until they blurred. Then she picked up Biscuit, held him close, and practiced the lines she'd been rehearsing all morning. "He's a good puppy. He doesn't bark much. He's really sweet. Please, please take care of him." Her voice cracked on the last word. She tried again. "Please take care of him." But the tears came anyway, hot and fast, and she couldn't stop them. Biscuit licked her cheek, and Emma made herself stop crying. Because if she was going to do this, she had to be brave. The first person she approaches is a woman with perfect hair and sunglasses that cost more than Emma's entire wardrobe. Emma holds up the sign, her voice small. "Excuse me, would you like to?" The woman doesn't even slow down. "Not today, sweetie." The second person is a man in a suit, holding a briefcase. He glances at the sign, then at Emma, then shakes his head. "Sorry, kid. Can't help you." The third person actually stops. A middle-aged woman with kind eyes crouches down, looking at Biscuit. "Oh, he's adorable," she says softly. Emma's heart leaps. "He's really good." "He doesn't." "But honey," the woman interrupts gently. "Puppies are expensive to keep. Food, vet bills, training. I just can't take that on right now." She pats Emma's shoulder and walks away. Emma stands there, frozen. An hour passes. Then 2. The sun climbs higher. The parking lot fills and empties, fills and empties. People glance at her. Some smile. Some frown. Most just look away. And slowly, quietly, something inside Emma begins to crack. Because she's starting to realize the truth. She's not going to be able to save her mom. Not with $3. Not with a puppy no one wants. Not with anything she has. Her knees buckle. She sinks to the pavement, clutching Biscuit so tight, he whimpers softly. "I'm sorry," she whispers, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry." The tears come hard now, shaking her whole body. She presses her face into Biscuit's fur and sobs, her small shoulders trembling, her breath coming in gasps. I tried so hard. And the world keeps moving around her. Cars pull in. Doors slam. People walk past. No one stops. Until the rumble begins. At first, it sounds like thunder rolling in from the horizon. Low, deep, vibrating through the air. Shoppers pause, glancing toward the sound. A security guard straightens, his hand moving instinctively toward his radio. And then they appear. 1 motorcycle. Then 10. Then 50. Then more. They pour into the parking lot like a steel river. Chrome gleaming. Engines roaring. Leather-clad riders sitting tall and silent. The Hells Angels. 150 of them. They move in formation, slow and deliberate, filling the far end of the lot like a wall of iron and fire. Shoppers freeze. Parents pull their children closer. The security guard mutters something into his radio, but he doesn't move. Because you don't move when the angels arrive. You wait. The engines cut off one by one. Silence crashes down like a hammer. And then one of the bikers, a man with a gray beard, a scarred leather vest, and arms covered in faded tattoos, steps off his bike. He stands there for a moment, scanning the parking lot. Then he sees her, the little girl, on her knees, holding a puppy, crying. His jaw tightens. He starts walking. Emma doesn't notice him at first. She's too lost in her grief, her face buried in Biscuit's fur, her whole body shaking. But then a shadow falls over her. She looks up, and there he is, a mountain of a man, standing 6 feet tall, his leather vest covered in patches and pins. His face is weathered, lined with years of sun and road and hard living. His eyes are blue, sharp, intense, but not unkind. He kneels, slowly, deliberately, making himself smaller. "Hey there," he says quietly. His voice is rough, like gravel, but there's something warm underneath it. Emma stares at him, her breath hitching. "You okay?" he asks. She shakes her head. He glances at the sign on the ground beside her. His eyes narrow as he reads it. Then he looks back at her. "Why are you selling your best friend?" The question is so simple, so direct, and it breaks her. "My mom," Emma whispers, her voice cracking. "She's sick, really sick. And the medicine costs so much and we don't have any money and I don't know what else to do." Her words spill out in a rush, tangled and desperate. The man's face hardens, not in anger toward her, but at the world, at the injustice of a child having to make this choice, at the cruelty of a system that leaves an 8-year-old begging in a parking lot. He takes a slow breath. Then he turns and raises one hand. The signal ripples through the group. One by one, the bikers step off their motorcycles. They walk forward, forming a semicircle around Emma and their leader. Wallets open. Bills are pulled from pockets. Coins clink together. The leader holds out his hand, and his brothers pile money into it. 20s, 50s, hundreds. Emma's eyes go wide. What are you doing? The leader looks down at her, and for the first time, he smiles. We're buying the puppy. Emma's heart sinks. But he's staying with you. She blinks. What? You heard me. He hands her the money. Thick, heavy, more than she's ever held in her life. We're buying him. But he's yours. You keep him. Emma stares at the bills in her hands. Then she looks up at the man, tears streaming down her face. Why? He reaches out and gently ruffles her hair. Because nobody should have to give up what they love most just to survive. Emma bursts into sobs again, but this time they're different. Relief, gratitude, disbelief. The leader stands, turning to his men. Mount up. We're going to the pharmacy. The engines roar back to life. 150 motorcycles pull out in formation, thundering across the parking lot like a cavalry charge. Shoppers stand frozen, watching in awe. And Emma, still clutching Biscuit and the money, watches them go. The pharmacy is 3 miles away. When the Hells Angels arrive, the rumble of their engines shakes the windows. The pharmacist looks up from her counter, eyes wide, as the leader walks through the door. Behind him, dozens of bikers fill the small shop, lining the aisles like soldiers. Emma's mom. The leader says simply, placing the prescription on the counter. We're here to pay for her medication. The pharmacist stares at him. All of it, he adds. 6 months' worth. Maybe a year if we can swing it. One of the other bikers steps forward, pulling out a credit card. Put it on this. Another pulls out cash. And this. The pharmacist's hands tremble as she types into the computer. I need to explain something, she says quietly. The leader leans against the counter. Go ahead. Emma's mother works 2 jobs. She's been doing everything she can to keep that little girl fed and clothed. But she got sick, really sick, and she doesn't have insurance. She tried applying for assistance, but it takes months to process. She refused charity because she's proud. She didn't want to be a burden. The pharmacist's voice cracks. But she's been getting worse. And Emma's been trying to take care of her. Doing chores, skipping meals, staying up at night to make sure her mom's okay. The leader's jaw tightens. One of the bikers behind him mutters, nobody should fight this alone. The leader nods. We're not leaving until this is handled. 20 minutes later, the medication is bagged, paid for, delivered, and the angels aren't done yet. Where's the house? The leader asks. The pharmacist hesitates. We're not here to scare them, he says gently. We're here to help. She writes down the address. The house is small. 1 story, peeling paint, a sagging porch, a lawn that hasn't been mowed in weeks. But the windows are clean, and there are flowers in pots by the door, wilted, but still there. Someone cares about this place. Someone's trying. The leader knocks. It takes a moment. Then the door opens. And there she is. Emma's mother. Thin, pale, barely able to stand. She looks at the man in the leather vest. Then at the wall of motorcycles lining the street. Her face goes white. Please, she whispers. Please don't hurt us. The leader raises both hands, palms out. Ma'am, we're not here to hurt you. We're here because of your daughter. Her eyes widen. Emma? Is she? She's fine. She's safe. But we need to talk. Emma comes running from the parking lot. Biscuit in her arms, the money still clutched in her fist. She sees her mom standing in the doorway, sees the bikers, and for a moment, she freezes. Then she runs, straight into her mother's arms. They collapse together on the porch, holding each other tight, both of them crying. The leader watches. So do his brothers. Not a single one of them looks away. The mother looks up at the leader, tears streaming down her face. What did you do? Your daughter, he says quietly, tried to sell her puppy to buy your medicine. We couldn't let that happen. He holds up the pharmacy bag. Your medication. 6 months' worth. Paid for. The mother's hand flies to her mouth. I can't accept that. Yes, you can, the leader says firmly. And you will. Because your daughter shouldn't have to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. And neither should you. Emma looks up at him, her eyes red and swollen. Thank you, she whispers. He kneels down again, meeting her eyes. You gave up what you loved most to save your mom. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen. So we're giving back what you need most. He glances at the mother. Both of you. The angels don't leave. Not yet. Within an hour, calls are made. Other motorcycle clubs are contacted. Veterans groups. Charities. Local businesses. Word spreads like wildfire. By evening, the house is surrounded by people. Not just bikers. Everyone. A local contractor shows up with a crew to fix the porch. A grocery store donates 3 months of food. A church organizes a fundraiser. A lawyer offers to help the mother navigate the insurance system, pro bono. The town that had ignored Emma in the parking lot suddenly sees her. And they're ashamed. But they're also determined to make it right. The leader stands on the porch, watching the chaos unfold, a slight smile on his weathered face. One of his brothers walks up beside him. You started something, brother. The leader shrugs. Sometimes all it takes is one person to show up. We showed up with 150. Yeah, we did. 3 weeks later, Emma's mother is standing in the kitchen. Not sitting. Not lying down. Standing. She's cooking breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, and yes, biscuits. Emma sits at the table with Biscuit curled up in her lap, watching her mom move around the kitchen like she used to. Like she's alive again. You feeling okay, Mom? Emma asks. Her mother smiles. A real smile, bright and warm. I feel better than I have in months, baby. The angels visit every Saturday. They mow the lawn. They fix things around the house. They bring groceries. They sit on the porch and drink coffee with Emma's mom, telling stories and making her laugh. Emma has started calling them her angels, and they don't correct her. One Saturday, the leader kneels down beside Emma while she's playing with Biscuit in the yard. You doing okay, kiddo? She nods, smiling. Yeah, Mom's getting better. We're okay now. He reaches out and gently taps Biscuit's nose. You keep taking care of each other, all right? I will. He stands, looking down at her. You gave up what you loved most to save your mom. That takes courage most grown men don't have. Don't ever forget that. Emma looks up at him, her eyes bright. I won't forget you either. His throat tightens. He ruffles her hair one more time. Good. The sun is setting over Millbrook. The Hells Angels line up their motorcycles on Main Street, engines rumbling low and steady. Emma and her mother stand on the porch, waving. Biscuit barks once, his tail wagging. The leader raises his hand in a final salute. Then he turns his bike and leads his brothers out of town, the sound of their engines fading into the distance like a promise. We were here. We saw. We showed up. In the weeks and months that follow, the story spreads. Not just through Millbrook, but beyond. People start to see the Hells Angels differently. Not as outlaws. Not as threats. But as men who showed up when no one else did. Men who saw a child in need and didn't look away. Men who understood that real strength isn't about how loud you roar. It's about how gently you can hold something fragile. Emma keeps the cardboard sign. She tucks it away in a box under her bed, along with a photo one of the bikers took that day. Her, surrounded by 150 leather-clad men, all of them smiling. Sometimes, late at night, she pulls it out and looks at it. And she remembers. She remembers that the world can be cruel, but it can also be kind. She remembers that sometimes the scariest-looking people are the ones with the biggest hearts. And she remembers that no child should ever have to give up what they love most just to survive. Biscuit curls up beside her, resting his head on her pillow. Emma whispers into the dark. We're okay now. And somewhere, out on the open road, the angels ride into the night. Still watching. Still protecting. Still showing up.
does not